Hello everybody and welcome back to the Cat Lady. Last episode we had a crazy maniac break into Susan's apartment and he's killed Susan, and now we're obviously probably in another dream sort of world, but we need to find a way to get back to check on Mitzi. So here we are. This is another really long chapter, so we better go ahead and get started making some progress here. This is the room that we start in. We're going to head to the left first, and you're going to get an alternate dimension or alternate world of Susan's apartment. The spare bedroom is locked, and we're stone-walled by these skulls. We can't go any further. We can try and go back to the right, and we can find that now we're completely boxed in with no way of escape. But once you've had that happen, the two sides of the walls closing in on you, you're able to examine this mirror. The back of the mirror seems loose. Could there be a secret compartment behind it? Well, there might be, but we can't get behind there with our hands. So if you move this rag, you'll find there's a knife underneath. Knives have been quite useful lately. And you can use the knife to get behind the secret compartment. A key and a lever. We're going to want both of those things. We'll take the key and we will pull the lever, which will reveal the mace. Funnily enough, it looks identical to the mace that we had built back in Chapter 2 when taking care of Dr. X. So you can go over to the wall on the left-hand side and use the mace to smash it. Once you've done that, we can use the key on the door. And we are now back at the Queen of the Maggots' home. And it's time for us to blow out another candle. And now we can get out of here. That's all we needed to pick up from this room. So on the right hand wall, we're going to use the mace again. And we are done in here now. We can continue on back to where we started. And we're going to ignore these two doors in front of us and continue on to the right. And we are now in a pier area. It's really pretty, actually. There's a few things that we can look at. It's hard to tell from the distance, but it looks completely abandoned. There's some junk over here in the corner you can look at, but really there's nothing too exciting. It'd probably just fall apart if I got in. It's so old and rotten. No way of escape by using any of those boats. If you keep going to the right, you'll see a number in this first net. 3. And if we keep going to the right, move Susan kind of slowly, and you'll see that the objects in the background actually form the numbers 8 and 4. So we're going to be using that for the padlock that's on one of the doors we passed earlier. We can read this sign here. Minimum passenger handling capacity is 2, so that's a very oddly specific rule for an elevator. It only works with, you have to have a minimum of 2 people to get it to work, so that's going to be important for us to remember. Would this elevator take me under the surface of the sea? It doesn't look very safe, but it might be the only way out. And if we try and activate it, we'll find out that there's no power. So by reading those signs and getting the numbers, we're going to get a few clues and we'll be able to make some more progress. So let's go back to the left and we can now examine those other doors. We'll start by examining the padlock. And we're going to put in the combination, which is 384. You can enter this room here, and you'll see a shadow of Susan in the background with several panels on the wall. And at the end, there's this piece of machinery, and if we look at it, it's identical to the machine that we had seen in the world of the Queen of the Maggots. That was the machine that needed Susan's blood. In the main panel on the right, there's a lever that you can take. And this is a bit of a puzzle that we're going to have to do. It's very easy, but it's very monotonous. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to move Shadow Susan along the path towards the machinery, turn it on, and do the blood sacrifice again. So, walk up to the first panel, put the lever in, and then use the machinery, and it will move Susan forward. Now there is no other lever, but what we can use as a secondary lever is the mace. So you're going to have to move Susan forward, and you're going to have to alternate between the mace and the lever. Because what's going to happen is if you removed both the mace and the lever, and these two guards went up, Susan would just go back to her original position. So you want to make sure that you always have a barrier up behind Susan at all times, or you'll basically just ruin all of your progress and you'll have to go back. So it's not a hard puzzle, but it's a little bit tedious if you can't figure it out, especially if you make it really far, make a mistake, and then, you know, Susan goes all the way back. Quite a pain, but we're almost there. They don't make you go too far, which is nice. Alright, so she's at the machinery. Now we just have to turn the machine on. Sorry, Susan. Past Susan, ghost Susan, whatever apparition of Susan you are. We need your blood. So something has changed, obviously, and hopefully that is going to allow us to operate the elevator. The second problem, of course, though, now is we don't have a second person to go into the elevator with us. So if you go to the door on the left, you can see this really bizarre looking monster, and you can look at it if you want to. What is this thing? I think the worst thing about it is that it looks a bit like me. So we don't need the levers anymore, and you'll notice that in this room we get Susan's reflection from chapter 2 when she was in the hospital. This puzzle requires that you line Shadow Susan up close to the monster but not too close, and you use the knife to stab the monster. And that allows the alternate Susan to break free, and she's gonna act as your secondary passenger on the elevator. So that's a relatively short sequence. We just need to walk her back to the elevator and get on it now. And hopefully that means that we can leave, we can go back to the real world, and I really hope Mitzi's okay. I don't think Susan would be able to recover again if something happened to Mitzi.
Goodbye, other world.
even though it wasn't her fault, I think she would just be so distraught if anything happened to her. This elevator also doesn't make any sense. It's almost like it's plummeting to the bottom of the sea. Doesn't seem to be taking us anywhere. And it seems to be crushing under the water pressure. And unfortunately, we're totally helpless. We just have to sit here and wait.
Is that you behind my back, Mitzi?
Miss Ashworth, I thought you were dead. I saw that man hit you right in the head.
Me? Dead? No, I'm a tough old girl. You can't kill me that easily. Stop asking stupid questions. We have no time for that. Let's calm down, yeah?
Yeah, okay, I can do that.
What's this? Duct tape?
Yeah, he had loads of that stuff.
Maybe we can break this tape if we pull really hard?
It won't hurt to try.
It's pointless. We're completely wrapped in this damn tape.
We're cocoons, stuck in a web, waiting to be eaten. But where's the spider? He's gonna play with us first, isn't he?
Pull yourself together and stop talking shit. I can't think properly.
Oh, so the girls are obviously in a huge predicament right now. He's spared our life for the moment, but who knows what he has planned for us. This is another situation where we sort of have to go through all of the dialogue in order to advance on. I'm going to stop it here, and we will try to team up with Mitzi and figure out a way out of this situation in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I hope I'll